This is TWiT.
The cost of cyber insurance will likely be rising, or maybe insurance will even be terminated. Given the past several years and the number of times we've talked about state and local government agencies, including school districts, relying upon their cyber attack insurance to cover the cost of ransoms and after-attack recovery, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Wall Street investors and the insurance markets are worried about the cybersecurity risks that state and local governments face. This is changing the economics of public sector services, and not for the better. Offices that previously provided a limited set of local services, which never really gave much more than a passing thought to the need for cybersecurity, are now, for the first time, finding themselves targeted by foreign criminal and nation-state actors. And in reaction to all the payouts insurers have had to cough up, the rates on cybersecurity insurance, which has been the main line of defense for many state and local governments, has started to rise. And in some cases, to even become available, at least not at a price that our government agencies have been able to afford, or just had the budget for. We know from all of our previous reporting that the bad guys are explicitly targeting entities which are believed to be well insured because, as with Willie Sutton, that's where the real money is. As far as protecting themselves goes, for our local budget-strapped municipal and state agencies, as always, it's a matter of funding. Omid Romani, who's the Associate Director for U.S. Public Finance at the credit rating agency Fitch, which is a biggie, told The Record in an interview, quote, "The landscape is changing quite rapidly now. From the cybersecurity insurance and the threat landscape side, which leaves local governments in the middle dealing with issues they traditionally haven't had to deal with. And literally, no one believes that our agencies are up to the challenge they now have no choice but to tackle. Last month, Hilltop Securities surveyed 150 municipal bond credit analysts and specialists, excluding those who were at rating agencies. I've placed the bar chart showing the sad results of one of the survey questions which they were asked. The 13th multiple choice survey question asked was, what is your opinion of how prepared state and local governments and other municipal market participants currently are for cyber attacks? So this was multiple choice. Very prepared, prepared, on their way to being prepared, somewhat prepared, hardly prepared, or other. Okay, by far the dominant bar at 63% of the total was hardly prepared. The runner-up, which made up most of the remaining balance at 30%, was somewhat prepared. And the remaining 6% selected from the multiple choices was the optimistic on their way to being prepared. But no one, not one, of the 150 analysts surveyed chose either they're prepared or very prepared. And many of the surveyed analysts cited cybersecurity as a major factor in the current municipal bond market. So what does that translate into? Higher borrowing cost for all of those who finance themselves by issuing municipal bonds. And of course, it's we taxpayers who fund these bond measures. Back in April of 2020, only 12% of those responding to a similar survey cited cybersecurity among the top 5 issues affecting the municipal bond market at the time. In this updated and just published survey, that number has risen from 12% to 29%. And of course, this is why none of this bodes well for the future availability and or the cost to these agencies for the purchase of sufficiently comprehensive cyber attack insurance. We keep seeing that money isn't spent where there isn't a screaming need for it to be spent. And this appears to be especially true in IT, which the starched shirt C-suite executives have never really understood, nor really wanted to need to understand. Their feeling was, please just let all that confusing mumbo jumbo be somebody else's problem. It's not. Until recently, random municipal agencies were not being attacked. There was, no reason to attack them. So not only was their true cyber preparedness allowed to go lacking, but their insurance costs were low. However, that's not what the future promises. At least insurance is something that bureaucrats understand. What this means for those of us in the U.S., at least, is either a decrease in the quality or quantity of provided services due to the need to budget more on a fixed budget for cyber insurance, or probably an increase in local taxes, since, as I said, somebody needs to pay for this, and taxes is where the money comes from. So, there's a lag in this happening. As we know, the ransom attacks have been increasingly prevalent the last few years. It's getting pushed down the chain, and ultimately it will end up raising our taxes.